Hello and welcome to our Thursday Abbey Youth Thought, and I thought I'd have a go at doing this while out on a bit of exercise in the countryside. And so this weekend is, for followers of Jesus all around the world, it is the most significant, the most important kind of moment in the year. It is an opportunity to think about Jesus' death and his resurrection, and to think about kind of all that that means and all that that signifies. And it's not going to be the Easter weekend really that anyone wanted. We're not going to be able to celebrate it in the way that we'd hoped. And yet actually I wonder if that might mean that it's the message behind it becomes even more significant for us, even more meaningful. And so I wondered, what kind of picture could I use to maybe illustrate that? Well, one of them that I thought about was from this morning when me and my two girls, Ren and Teal, Ren who's 3, Teal who's 1, we were watching the Gruffalo. And if you haven't seen the Gruffalo, it kind of focuses around this small mouse, and he's kind of in this wood, and he comes face to face with this giant, scary, mean Gruffalo, and the Gruffalo wants to eat him, but he convinces the Gruffalo not to, and he says to him, all the creatures in the wood are afraid of me, and he says something along the lines of, come with me and you'll see all the creatures are afraid of me. And so he walks into the wood, and behind him is the giant Gruffalo, and as he's walking, he comes across these different creatures. So there's the snake who wants to eat him, but then when the snake sees him, the snake goes, goodbye little mouse, and disappears off because he sees the Gruffalo. And then there's the owl who does the same, suddenly kind of flies off in fear, goodbye little mouse. And then last of all there's the fox, and when he approaches the fox, he's actually being held in the hand of the Gruffalo. And I love that kind of picture. And for me, it felt like a bit of a picture of what Jesus' death and resurrection, kind of the difference that they can make. Because often we will feel small and vulnerable and weak, like that mouse in the story. But when we think about the message of the Easter weekend, where it's this kind of picture of death being defeated, Jesus rising from the dead, and that the risen Jesus can be with us. And so when we walk through life, when we face the different challenges that we're going to come up against, actually we can know that Jesus is with us. So maybe things come across us, things come at us like fear, anxiety, stress, illness, maybe even death. The Easter hope is that the risen Jesus is walking right beside us, and that he promises to never leave us or forsake us. And that actually all these things that will feel so big to us, actually compared to the risen Jesus, are small and kind of don't have the same power in any way that he has. In John's Gospel, Jesus talks about, I think it's in chapter 10, Jesus talks about how God the Father is more powerful than anything or anyone, and that we can be held in his hands, and that nothing can snatch us out of his hands. And so my kind of prayer for each one of us over this Easter weekend is that we would know that the risen Jesus that he's alive, and that he is with us. And so maybe if you're still uncertain about who Jesus is and the difference that he can make, well, I would encourage you to read some chapters from John's Gospel. Maybe read chapters 18 to 21 over this weekend, and see and think about what he has done. And I pray that each one of us, whatever kind of things, scary things come across, come at us, or try and take away our sense of peace and our sense of confidence, I pray that we would know that the risen Jesus is right there next to us. So I'm going to pray, and then we'll finish. So dear God, thank you that you love each one of us, and I pray that this weekend which isn't going to be the weekend that we'd hoped for. I pray that however it goes, that we would know that the risen Jesus is with us, that he loves us, that he's got a plan for us, and that we can put our trust in Jesus' death and resurrection, and we can know that we are held safe in the Father's hands. Amen. God bless and stay safe.